May I have your attention, ladies and gentlemen? Good morning to everyone who's here for our Columbus Day ceremony. My name is John Parada. I represent the Scotch Plains Fairwood chapter of Unico. To open our ceremony, I'd like to introduce Father John Palladino from St. Bartholomew's Church, who will open with an opening prayer.
Good morning, everyone. I did a little research here. Columbus believed he was the human instrument called by God to carry out part of that divine plan. With a hand that could be felt, he wrote to the king and queen in a letter, "The Lord opened my mind to the fact that it would be possible to sail from here to the Indies, and he opened my will to desire to accomplish the project. This was the fire that burned within me when I came to visit your highnesses. Who can doubt that this fire was not merely mine, but also the Holy Spirit encouraged me with a radiance of marvelous illumination from his sacred scriptures? Our awareness of what Columbus accomplished under God's direction ought to remind us of our own indebtedness and responsibilities as benefactors of his fortitude. His chief concern, as ours should be, was not what people think of him, but what God thinks of him. In that spirit, shall we pray. In the quiet sanctuaries of our hearts, let each of us name and call on the one whose power over us is great and gentle, firm and forgiving, holy and healing. You who created us, who sustains us, who calls us to live in peace, hear our prayer this day. Hear our prayer for all who have died, whose hearts and hopes are known to you alone. Hear our prayer for those who put the welfare of others ahead of their own, and give us hearts as generous as theirs. Hear our prayer for those who gave their lives in the service of others, and accept the gift of their sacrifice. Help us to shape and make a world where we will lay down the arms of war and turn our swords into plowshares for a harvest of justice and peace. Comfort those who grieve the loss of their loved ones, and let your healing be the hope in our hearts. Most eternal God, as Americans, we want to thank you for this great country. We are not proud but humbled that in your divine sovereignty we were born or naturalized in such a nation as this. Hear our prayer this day, and in your mercy answer us in the name of all that is holy. The peace of God be with you all.
Thank you very much, Father. The next person is Tom Donatelli. It was Tom's company that arranged for the marble of the statue to come from Italy, and Tom will lead us with the flag salute.
Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tom. The next person will be Mariana Bierben, who will share some songs with us.
Please join me in singing our national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallant after all, since this is Columbus Day, please join me in singing the Italian national anthem. Fratelli d'Italia, l'Italia se desta dell'elmo di Scipio, se cinta la testa dove la vittoria le porga la chiama che schiava di Roma e Dio la creò. Fratelli d'Italia, l'Italia se desta dell'elmo di Scipio, se cinta la testa dove la vittoria le porga la chioma che schiava di Roma e Dio la creò. Stringiamoci a corte, siamo pronti alla morte, l'Italia chiamò. Stringiamoci a corte, siamo pronti alla morte, l'Italia chiamò. Sì! Thank you very much.
That was just tremendous. The only thing I can say is, I hope when I come back to the next life, I might even be able to sing close to that. Okay, next on our schedule is the chapter president of Scotch Plains Fairwood Unico, Jerry Samuels.
Good morning. I'd like to thank you all for being here today. First, I'd like to acknowledge some dignitaries that are here that did not make it on our program. Fielder Chairman Mirabella, Councilman Beckerman, Councilwoman Gelinella, past District Governor Ben Javenga, and past District Governor Tart. I'd like to thank everyone for being here this morning. I'd like to thank the Italian American Club for getting involved in the program and for their participation, and the Knights of Columbus for being here to help us recognize these students. But most of all, I'd like to thank Carmen Ponzio, who for the last 5 or 6 years has really struggled to make this program what it turned out to be today. I'd like to just acknowledge the winners today. They're from St. Bartholomew's Academy, Hannah Guarnuccio from grade 8 and Kaya Sharif from grade 7. And the topic statement was, the discovery of America by Christopher Columbus was one of the most important events of the previous millennium. Do you agree or disagree? How would this discovery be viewed in today's world? And how do you think history would have unfolded if Columbus did not discover America? So thank you for being here today. Our district governor is here. She'll get up and speak to you in a couple of minutes, and enjoy the rest of the program.
Next, we'd like to ask Kaya Sharif, one of our winners, to come up and read her essay to you.
On a fall day in October of 1492, Christopher Columbus sailed his way to Asia. But along the way, he made a wrong turn and landed on what we now call America. Contrary to what many people believe, Christopher Columbus was not the first one to discover America. The Vikings had already made a voyage to North America, and even then, Native Americans had already inhabited the land. Nonetheless, Christopher Columbus's discovery was one of the most important events in the previous millennium. Yes, there are many other important events that took place in the previous millennium, such as the signing of the Declaration of Independence, the creation of the U.S. Constitution, and the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation and the Civil Rights Movement, to name a few. However, if Christopher Columbus had not come to the New World, colonies may not have settled, and none of those events would have occurred. Maybe this would have been for the best, because Native Americans would not have to deal with all the problems brought to their land by the Europeans. Whether Whether it was good or bad, it was still a very important event. Furthermore, people are always looking for new things to discover. If a new land was found today, there would be a great celebration and people would rush to go live there. For example, now that they can get to Mars, people are planning a voyage to live on Mars. Once they get there, they will have to build their own towns and form colonies and governments, very similar to what happened when Christopher Columbus discovered America. People are always interested in the unknown, but like my mom says, some things are better left alone. Who knows what will happen when people try to live on Mars? Maybe there are natives already living there, and we just don't know it yet. Or maybe Mars will one day become a great nation, just like America. On the other hand, one may wonder what it would be like if Christopher Columbus never sailed the ocean blue. What would the history books say then? What would we know about America? Well, since Native Americans already lived on the land, the history books will look quite different. The president may have been a woman named Pocahontas. Indians wouldn't have to live on reservations because they couldn't have been chased off their land, and slave trade may have never existed. I believe America would still progress because Native Americans would have been able to create new things for themselves. It's not fair to think that Native Americans could have not made it without the help of the Europeans settlers, because before Columbus's voyage, they did just fine. They had language, they had communities, they had transportation, and they even had medicines. However, we are all now here, and it's a great place to be. In conclusion, even though Christopher Columbus was not the first one to sail America, he played an important role in settling the New World and bringing a colonization. America has seen many problems since its birth and fought many challenges, but in the end, we live in a land of freedom and opportunity, and I wouldn't live anywhere else. That is why we celebrate this day, Christopher Columbus Day.
I just want to mention that our essay winners will be receiving a check from Scotch Plains Family Unico as a means of congratulating them for their hard work on their essays. Okay, the next person on our program will be the representative of the Scotch Plains Italian American Club, Tom Donatelli.
Good morning, and thank you all for coming. Unico has been doing this every year, and not a whole lot of people have been coming out, and it's a really nice thing to see a nice attendance like this for our nice monument that we have in town. First of all, I'd like to thank Mayor Kevin Glover for his efforts in organizing this wonderful event. Thank you, Mayor. Kevin got a hold of the Italian American Club this year and said, why aren't you guys more involved with this club, with this event? And the Unicans, of course, have been trying to encourage us as much as possible to get involved with the Columbus Day event every year. It was 15 years ago today, October 12th, 1998, that this Christopher Columbus monument was unveiled. This statue was carved by world-renowned sculptor Gheorghe Filin in Carrara, Italy, and transported here by container ship, much the way that Columbus himself came here in 1492. The white Italian marble came from the same quarry that Michelangelo used when he made his famous statues, the Pietà, the David, and many others. During the middle 90s, Unico would hold their Columbus Day ceremonies at the War Memorial on Front Street. In 1994, for the celebration of the 50th anniversary of the end of World War II, our VFW was commissioned to renovate the War Monument. My father, Joe Donatelli, a World War II veteran, was asked to design the renovation and supply the stone. While celebrating Columbus Day in 1997 at the War Memorial, Rocco Cornacchia, a longtime Unican, asked the question, why don't we have a Columbus monument in this town? So he asked my father, also a longtime Unican, what he thought of the idea. His response was, "That's a great idea, but let's do something unique. Everyone has a bust of Columbus or a full-size statue of Columbus." So Unico held a contest in the art departments at the high school and Union Catholic. The students were asked to design an idea rather than draw a picture of Columbus himself. Now, this statue is the hand of Columbus. In 1492, nobody believed that the earth was round. Columbus went to Queen Isabella of Spain looking for money to fund his trip. He held an orange in his hand and he said to her, "The earth is round like this orange, not flat, and I want to prove it to everyone in the world." But we see here the hand of Columbus presenting an orange to the Queen. The half-round globe represents the world and the orange that Columbus held, and the 3 stainless steel sails on the top represent the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. The contest winner and conceptual designer was Lennox Brown, a student at Union Catholic High School. He was from Newark, New Jersey, and he was awarded a $1,000 scholarship. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom. The next person I'd like to introduce is the Grand Knight of the Knights of Columbus Council, 5730, Mr. Steve Prado.
Thank you, John, and good morning, everyone. I'm very happy to be here today. About an hour ago, I was helping my wife with dust ruffles and cleaning windows, so this is this is quite a way to get away from that, and I hope this lasts for a good long time. So it's we're very happy to be here because the Knights of Columbus, of course, take their name from the patron and namesake Christopher Columbus. At the Knights, we have the John S. Nelligan Council. We have four principles. The first, of course, is charity, and many of you have seen us shaking the cans with the aprons on, collecting money for our mentally disabled citizens. So we really try to do fundraisers like that to help the community, and certainly to support our churches, St. Bartholomew's Church, and also Immaculate Heart of Mary, our diocese, the Archdiocese of Newark, and also the Holy Father of Pope Francis. So we have charities involved that we do at the local council to help in that regard. So that's the first principle, is charity. The second and third principle are unity and fraternity, and that involves the fact that in unity there is strength, and the brothers of the Knights in this council stay together. And fraternally, we also support one another and try to help each other in reaching our charitable endeavors. The last principle is patriotism. That's the fourth principle, and of course that's involved with our love of country. And of course Christopher Columbus started it all when he founded the New World, and we're just delighted to show our support for him and his great explorations, and also for the patriotism of our great country, the United States of America. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Steve. The next person on our program was very instrumental in helping to make this year's Columbus ceremony much better, much larger, more caring, more important to all of us, and that's the Mayor of Scotch Plains, Mr. Kevin Glover.
Move this up a little. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Scotch Plains. I'm delighted to be with you and to participate in this year's Christopher Columbus Day celebration. It gives me great pleasure to share with you that later you will be entertained by a marvelous quintet, the Westfield Symphony Brass Ensemble. It will be a treat. And let me ask that you stick around and listen to them. I want to share with you that when I asked them if they would consider performing for us, there was never a hesitation. They were thrilled to come. So I thank them on behalf of all of you. I also want to recognize the folks who sponsored today's event once again. The Italian American Club, Unico, and the Knights of Columbus. Thank you all. Today we celebrate the 521st anniversary of Christopher Columbus's discovery of America. We celebrate as well the 15th anniversary of our Christopher Columbus Monument. Christopher Columbus's voyage speaks to man's pursuit of discovery, our willingness to challenge the status quo. Today, we recognize man's spirit of adventure and our unquenchable thirst for knowledge and exploration, from those early voyages on the high seas to our exploration of outer space. Today, we remember those who have contributed to making America the great country we live in. Today, we renew our devotion to country and self with the words, "Proud to be an American." Today, we recognize all those who left their homelands, coming to America to seek new opportunities for their families. Once immigrants, those who have and continue to make our country the great melting pot of diverse cultures civilization has ever known. Allow me to recognize many of those original proud immigrants who came to our shores to settle in our township. They journeyed from a small town in Italy, Mondazzi. They came here with family values and a work ethic that helped make our township a great place to call home. Today, let us celebrate them and the innumerable contributions that generations of Italian Americans have made to our country. Scotch Plains is a great place to call home, richer for its ethnic diversity and family values. A community that shares a common belief that we are better when we care for and respect each other. 521 years ago, one man's vision insisted on proving that the world was not flat, as so widely believed, has brought us all here together today. One township, one community, one people. Today, let the voyage continue as we again recommit ourselves to the explorer in all of us and pledge ourselves to set our sails to an even brighter tomorrow. May God bless you, and may God continue to bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Okay, I just want to backtrack a little bit on our program. Someone I forgot to introduce. The Governor of Unico District 10, Ms. Courtney Villani.
Buongiorno. Such a beautiful morning to be surrounded by such beautiful people. I'm so proud to come from a family, a heritage, and communities that have strong, hardworking, determined Italian Americans in every memory of them. I'm sure each of you have those same memories of your families eternally working hard, putting good family values and morals in everything that we do. It's an honor to be here today representing Unico. For those of you who are not aware, Unico stands for Unity, Neighborliness, Integrity, Charity, and Opportunity. And in hearing everybody's speeches and essay, you can see that that is embedded in each one of us. I'm proud to be a member of Unico. I'm proud to be an Italian American, and thank you for having me here to share this day. Thank you.
Okay, the next person on our program is our State Assemblywoman, Linda Stender.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. I am so delighted to join with all of you on this lovely day to honor and celebrate Christopher Columbus and the contributions of the Italian American community to our great state and nation. And I thank the mayor and the council for being such a good partner with Unico and the Italian American Club and the Knights of Columbus. It was great to hear an essay from one of our young students. That's our future. That's whose lives are so impacted by the decisions that were made 500 years ago and every day as we go forward. For me, it's a pleasure to be here to bring you greetings from my partners, Senator Nick Scutari and Assemblyman Jerry Green, on this wonderful day, because we know that it's a celebration ultimately about community and bringing people together. That's really the message. You know, when I think about Christopher Columbus, just this past week, we saw that Scott Carpenter, the astronaut who was an explorer. And when I read that, I thought of, knowing about today's ceremony, I thought about, with awe, the kind of courage it takes to go where no man has gone before. That's what Christopher Columbus represents to me. And it's very personal to be here. And Tom, thank you for the story about the marble, because my grandfather came from Italy and he was a stone cutter. His father worked as a stone cutter in Lake Como area, brought his family here. He was a stone cutter who went back to Italy to learn his trade. And in fact, my family proudly displays sculptures that he carved out of marble that are so important in our family history. But what it really also reminds me of is that ultimately we celebrate what Christopher Columbus did because it was a pathway for all of us to pursue the American dream. And here we get to celebrate it, coming together as a community to honor and thank the contributions people have made to make this town the wonderful place it is, the state a place that we're proud to call home, and to work together for a better day. Enjoy the rest of this glorious celebration, and thank you.
I'd just like to introduce some other dignitaries that are here. We have Fanwood Councilman Tony Parenti, Scotch Plains Councilwoman Colleen Gialinella, and Scotch Plains Councilman Lou Beckerman. The next person on our program is past National President of UNICO, Renato Birabin.
Buongiorno and benvenuti a tutti. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure when you figure that many of us had to, one way or another, struggle to be able to get this far in life. But when you think of Columbus, I really want you to think back a little bit. Think not of the astronauts like Mr. Carpenter that do a great job, that have all the latest and scientific accomplishments available to help them in their journey. But think of what Columbus started with. I mean, he was a determined kid. He probably was a brat when he was growing up. When his mother and father told him to do something, he said, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do it my way. And that's kind of the way he lived his life. He was going to do it his way. Went to Portugal to study his mapping, cartography, and the skills. Also his sailing skills. Was shipwrecked himself once or twice, survived it, and came back and looked for more. When he set up to take the voyage into America, he didn't have a computer, he didn't have a typewriter, he didn't have any electronics. You know what he had? He had a sextant. You know what a sextant is? A sextant, if you look in the dictionary, you'll see it. It's basically a ruler and a compass. And he charted his way using this ruler and this compass. Now, it's great 500 years later to come back and say, well, he wasn't the first one here, and he didn't do anything. But what he discovered stayed discovered. He discovered a country, he discovered a land that was to be the opening of a new world, a new way of commerce between two different ends of the world. So all the revisionists can talk all they want about he wasn't the first one here, and he didn't do this, and he didn't do that. But as I said, what he discovered stayed discovered because he was determined. And one other important fact, he knew how to get back home. That's what he knew about America. All these other quote-unquote explorers didn't know how to do it. They didn't know how to play the tides both ways, coming over, going back. He thought of the Indies because of the ways the winds blew and what would get him over here in the first place. And the quote-unquote mistake in not landing in East Asia or whatever was because of the science of the cartography and what was there back in those days. But he knew how to get here, And more importantly, he knew how to get home. And quite frankly, he was the only one who got home. And what did he do? He wrote about it. He told the rest of the world that there's something else out there, and it's not just your own little neighborhood. There's something bigger to be explored. There's something bigger to be accomplished, and that is to come to this country and to take a shot at it. And that's what he did. He devoted his life to it. As a matter of fact, he, of all the explorers, is the only one who made several journeys here, because it wasn't just a mistake once he discovered what was going on. He came back and he proved it again. He knew how to get here, and he knew how to get back home. And there's none of the others that can say that. And he didn't die frozen in a block of ice in Greenland or Iceland or some other place by somebody else who may have gotten here a couple of years before him. And it's that determination that he brought with him, and that determination that he passed on through his heritage to our grandparents and parents, and allowed us to be able to challenge what we have to challenge as we go. So to celebrate this day, you really have to stop and think, is it just an Italian or an Italian-American holiday, or is it truly an American holiday? Because he opened up two worlds. He opened up a means of commerce between two, three, four, five, 6 different cultures, how to get here, how to get back, and what could be accomplished, as someone said before, when we work together and get done what we want to get done. UNICO has done that. Our founder, Dr. Anthony P. Vastola, in 1922, wanted to join an existing service organization, and he went to join. He was a teaching neurosurgeon, and they said, I'm sorry, you can't join, you're Italian. So he basically went back to his roots and said, Futura, I'm going to start my own club. And here we are, 92, 93 years later, working on UNICO. So it's kind of history repeating itself in its own way. You have to do what you're convinced you want to do. You have to have what Columbus had, which was the courage of his conviction to make sure that when he said, there's another piece of ground out there, I'm not going to sink into the ocean or into the deep nowhere. When I sail out, it's not going to be the end of me. I'm coming back, and I'm going to do what I have to do, because, as Mr. Donatelli so eloquently said, the world is not flat. He used his hand, and he used Mr. Donatelli's marble several hundred years later to be able to show us graphically what they were talking about. I thank you on behalf of all the UNICO chapters in the area, and thank you for inviting me, and have a beautiful American holiday. Thank you.
While I was doing some of my own research about Columbus, I noticed that his voyage only took 33 days to get to America. And sometimes, to me, it seems like it's 33 days just to get through the Lincoln Tunnel. Okay, at this time, I'd like you to turn your attention to the stage in back of us, where the Westfield Community Band and Ensemble will entertain us with some songs.
for that.
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, hello? Can we get them? Attention, attenzione! Hey, can we have a fine round of applause for the Westfield Community Band Brass Ensemble who came today to play for us. We thank you for your wonderful selections, and Mayor Checchio has just shared with me they're great. I know they're great. Hope you enjoyed them. Again, a round of applause for these wonderful musicians who came here to be with us to play on Christopher Columbus Day. We thank you, from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you. And well done.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who do something, the people who take action, are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
You're on your way to meet up with friends, but you can't seem to get anywhere quickly. You don't want your friends to be annoyed, so you text. You're on your way. Five seconds is the average time your eyes are off the road while texting while driving. Make sure you get where you're going.